What if you could get a peek at the future? And I don't mean a vague horoscope. I mean specific, actionable predictions about money, sports, you name it. Well, we've stumbled upon a document that claims to do just that. And today, we're going to try and decode it together. No, really, think about it. What would you even do? This isn't science fiction. This is raw data from a group of totally anonymous forecasters answering some very, very specific questions about what's to come. And some of their answers are, well, they're pretty wild. Okay, for any of you sports fans out there, that's a huge call, especially given how the league looks right now. A clear majority of the people in this project said yes to this. But trust me, it goes way beyond the basketball court. Now we're talking finance. And again, this was a majority prediction, a specific number on a specific timeline. The entire document is just filled with these kinds of high-stakes financial calls. A 10x return on what's probably one of the most hyped IPOs in history? That is an absolutely extraordinary claim. So you gotta ask, right? How in the world are they making these predictions? And what else is hiding in this document? All right, here's our game plan. We're gonna look at what they're predicting, then we'll unpack the fascinating and frankly kind of weird methods they're using. And finally, we'll try to connect all the dots and see what the big picture looks like. First up, the what. So what exactly are these people predicting? I mean, the range is just staggering. It goes from things that are deeply personal all the way to things with massive global implications. This one really stopped me in my tracks. A full 2/3 of these participants agreed with this statement. It points to this incredible self-awareness, or maybe a shared struggle, within this group. And it makes you wonder, does feeling this way about yourself make you better at predicting the future, or worse? And then you flip to a question like this on geopolitics, a potential nuclear deal between the US and Iran. And here, unlike that personal question, the group is completely split down the middle. It shows you this system isn't some magic crystal ball. It actually captures real-world uncertainty on really tough issues. So that's the what. Now for the really interesting part, the how. How are they actually generating these predictions? Well, the main method is surprisingly simple. It's almost like a secure, anonymous online poll. Everything is coded for anonymity. A question is just a string of letters and numbers. Participants are just P007, and their answers are simple: yes, no, or pass. It's a really clean way to get a direct answer, but this is where it starts to get weird. Yeah, so it goes way beyond just yes or no. The participants are also asked to predict the emotions of huge groups of people at some point in the future. We're shifting from hard data to something much more human. Just look at this, the predicted emotional roller coaster for investors after the Anthropic IPO. You have some forecasters seeing a full-on party, celebration, cheering. And then you have others predicting nervousness, fear, pain, anger. It suggests they're anticipating a massively volatile event. And check out this contrast. In late 2026, gold investors are predicted to feel calm, creative, even joyful. But just a few months before that, silver investors are feeling nervous, jittery, and even a sense of dread and loss. It's like they're trying to capture the whole psychological vibe of different markets. Okay, this brings us to what is, by far, the most unusual tool in this entire document. Participants aren't just asked what they think will happen, they're asked to draw it. They call these drawings ideograms. So instead of using words, participants just sketch the shape of the future. Usually, it's a price chart moving through time. The idea is to kind of bypass the analytical part of the brain and tap into something more intuitive, maybe even subconscious. And this just shows you how subjective it can all be. When asked to draw the path for Bitcoin's price, you get these completely different visions. On the left, someone sees this gradual bumpy climb. On the right, another person sees it going flat, then a massive drop, then a little recovery. Two totally different stories for the same asset. And it's not always just abstract lines either. Participants often write a little note to summarize their drawing. Here, another Bitcoin forecast is boiled down to its core idea, a visualized gradual ramp-up. That combination of the image and the text gives you a much clearer window into how they're thinking. We see the same exact thing here with Tesla stock. One person draws what they describe as a cyclical and mostly unchanging pattern, but another draws a very clear hump up, then down, then up. It's just a fascinating look at how different people visualize the very same market. Okay, so we've seen the what and we've seen the how. Now let's try to zoom out and put all these pieces together. What's the so what? What's the overall outlook here? So when you synthesize all this data, a few key themes start to emerge. There's a really strong belief in that SpaceX IPO and an Ethereum hitting 3 grand. But for other assets like Bitcoin, Tesla, and Rivian, the views are all over the place. For commodities, crude oil is leaning negative, and the predicted emotions for gold and silver investors could not be more different. And let's not forget the human element that's behind all of this. I mean, the strongest consensus in the entire document had nothing to do with markets or politics. It was about this shared feeling of personal limitation. It's just a powerful reminder that these predictions are made by people, and their own internal world must shape how they see the external one. So, after pulling apart this strange and, honestly, super compelling document, where do we land? What is this whole system really about? What we've looked at here is this really unique, multi-layered way of looking into the future. It combines hard data from those yes-no questions with the softer data from emotional predictions, and then this purely intuitive data from the ideogram drawings. It's like they're trying to see what's coming from every possible angle at once. But in the end, this whole thing leaves us with one massive question. Are these forecasters actually reading a signal about the future that's already out there? Or are they just writing the stories they hope or fear or just expect to happen? I guess that's a prediction for another day.